My name is Justin Albright. I'm a certified home inspector and appraiser. I'm here today doing a pre-listing valuation on the property so that I can point out any things that may cause problems in a potential sale for a buyer in this property. The things I'm going to focus on today, of course, would be your roof, your exterior, interior, air conditioning, electrical, appliances, to show any deferred maintenance or if anything here can cause a problem for the potential sale of the property. All right, here we are. We're on the outside of the house. These are some issues that I can point out to you that could prevent you from getting the highest and most value in possible sale. Although they are small, they can add up. For example, you know, if it were me, I would suggest that you're getting ready to list this house. Minimal things is to get some of these limbs cut and cleared from the house. You got a good new roof. There's no need to have these limbs protruding over the house. It just causes a little bit of unsightly stuff, and a future home inspector for the buyer will, of course, point these things out. For example, we got a fence here. Very minor stuff, but again, it all adds up. So if you're going to list the house and try to get the most money you can for it, why not take care of some of these small minor issues? You know, you can fix this fence. It's just something real small and minor. However, something that can be addressed pretty easily. Along with the limbs above the house, which shows a new roof, why not cut that off and save some life on your roof? Here we are with an air conditioning pad. This is pretty common in this part of the region with moisture and continual water. The air conditioning pad has sunk. So what I would suggest as a home inspector, that you get it removed, raised up with some good packed dirt and put it back down. These are all issues that the buyer's home inspection is going to point out. It could limit you from getting your maximum potential value for your property. As a result of this air conditioning unit leaning so long, it's starting to vibrate itself apart for being out of balance. It's a potential problem that's going to continue to get worse and worse. As you can see, it's vibrated itself loose from being out of balance, throwing screws. You know, next thing you know, you're going to need a new condenser fan outside, and this is all something that can be corrected pretty easily with leveling out this platform. Here's an example of another tree that impedes the light on a skylight. You know, is it hurting the home? No, but it's things that could help you get more value. You know, that's the purpose of me, is to go ahead and give you a checklist on the property so that when you do go to list this house, that there are things that don't, you know, impede you from getting all that you can get for your house. For the most part, this house is pretty solid on the outside with new roof, proper drip edge to prevent moisture running off and underneath to the soffits for rot. Everything seems to look pretty good out front. Very minimal issues with some trees, but all in all pretty good. So let's go inside and take a look at it and see if we can't take a look in the interior. Now here we are in the bathroom. Some things to point out in a bathroom. Again, we all know the house has been previously lived in, so it isn't a new home, but there are some things you can do to, you know, minor things that you can do to correct some issues that will be pointed out later in an inspection. Here we have some situation where moisture has eroded the grout and caulking, which could point to potential water damages. But it's from a listing standpoint, these are all things that you want to take care of before you list the property. So again, you're not shooting yourself in the foot and losing in any potential buyers. Same goes with inside. There's some also areas where grout has deteriorated over time, which is very common. This is probably a $25 fix that could impede you or lead you into finding major concerns at the point of a sale. Outside, we were talking about the overgrowth tree on the skylight. This is an example of what happens. It limits light, of course, which defeats the purpose of having a skylight. So here we are, we're on the second floor of the home. I'm just going to walk around and continue to see if there's anything that jumps out at me that, you know, of course, would also be caught by the buyer's home inspection. You know, the age of this home, being built in the 80s, it's really in a good shape and condition. I do see some settlement cracks in the sheetrock and where the paper is joined, but again, that's nothing significant that would cause any alarm. However, again, if I were listing this house, I would suggest that you go in and take some caulk and paint to kind of kill those, just to keep the eye moving and so that, you know, you're not, you know, shooting yourself in the foot when you do get a buyer. But overall, you know, this house is in good shape. I don't hear any squeaks when I walk around in the subfloor. These windows, they're insulated. You know, they are older homes, but again, for an 83 built home, it's good insulated glass. I don't see any moisture or condensation in between the units, so there's no failure. Still got a good seal. Things that you look for in those type windows, of course, would be moisture and failure on the thermal pane, but in this case, we don't have any. we check to see if the windows are operable. Whereas a lot of these older homes, the windows have been screwed shut, but this here is an operable window, so everything seems to be okay in this regards. The more I walk around, the more I see this house is in really good condition for its age. Here's an example. If I were to suggest that you get your filters and your returns and clean them, it seems like it's come loose and separated. Maybe it's just because a simple screw is not intact, but those are all things that you want to kind of address. Again, you want to put your best foot forward when you're trying to list a house, especially in today's market with the competition we have. All right, here we go. Now we're in a bathroom. We're going to do pretty standard things here to go ahead and test it. You close the plunger valve. You fill it full of water to make sure, of course, it does hold water and the plunger valve is intact and working properly. As this thing fills, what you're trying to do is create a heavy pressure system of water so that when you release the water, you have the maximum flow of water through your P-traps down here to determine whether or not there are any leaks. Now we're probably about 50%, so I think we could probably let it go now. Yeah, as we're draining, I don't see any leaks, so everything seems to be intact. Overall, I'd give this a passing grade and say there's no issues with this sink. Some things that are pretty common with these older sinks, they're white porcelain. Sometimes you see chips that show where things have been dropped on them. This sink shows good signs and not a lot of wear and tear. That's a good thing. After inspecting this bathroom, this half bath, this toilet appears to have a leak coming out of the drain box, or we call it the water pressure box. You can see evident signs of moisture in the wood and around the toilet. It also appears that the wax ring that the toilet sits on may have some issues that are causing water to come out of the lower part of the toilet. And I can feel that by putting my finger here and feeling moisture around the toilet. These are all issues that need to be addressed. And if you're buying a home, you'd want to point that out so that you're not 6 months or 8 months down the road fighting with the leak below on the main floor, and of course dealing with the toilet up here. When I walked in, I heard the toilet overflow unit refilling itself. So there appears to be a gradual leak where the flapper is with not a proper seal, so it continues to run water, which creates an issue with the water bill. You're not going to lose a whole lot of money, but it does add up, and there are things that cause problems that you definitely want to get addressed and at least be aware of. This is an example of a bad window unit where moisture has gotten in between the panes and you have moisture failure. It is also very common in homes that were built in the 80s, but it's something that you need to be aware of. If you can fix it before you list it, I suggest you do it because it will ultimately end up coming off the price of the house. All right, here we go. We're outside. I'll show you an example of not having the proper flashing, drip edge, or gutter system. The water runs off the roof and it causes continual moisture spot in the ground. So when it rains, this area becomes saturated, and of course, with a slab home like this, that's pretty common in this part of the Charleston area, water and moisture can be drawn into your slab and come up through your hardwood floors if you have floors down there, or if you have carpet. Which could cause potential mold in the sponge, which you cannot see, which could be really bad for respiratory. Here again, this is an area that is lower that causes pockets for water when the water does run off the roof, because this area does not have a proper slope out into the yard. Of course, water is going to find its way back towards your slab, again creating the same problem. So in a situation like this, if you are going to go list a home, or if you're buying the home, I would suggest that you build a proper bed with the right type of water that does allow water runoff to slope out into your yard. Now these are real common issues, but over time can cause big problems and create damage for your value in your house. And I want to thank you today for taking the time and watching us online, and hopefully I hear from you soon. And again, you can reach me at 803-466-5787. Have a good day.